Okay, hello everyone, and today I thought I'd do a video refutation of the psychopath and the bigot that is Michael Savage. The video was uploaded by, I assume, a fan of Michael Savage. I'm not going to give you the username or anything like that. It's called Michael Savage on Liberal Nutcases Destroying Culture and Society Norms. So what I'm going to do is just run through the video and provide a step-by-step analysis of what he's talking about and identifying the flaws in his arguments. Okay, let's start now.
So you think that we right-wingers are the problem in this world, huh? Well, let me read you a little story. Headline Daily Mail out of the UK.
Okay, firstly, of course we all know Michael Savage has a massive bias towards the right. The Daily Mail, in case anyone doesn't know, is of course a newspaper in the UK which is widely known for its right-wing tendencies. Nothing extremist, but extremely conservative. To the extent many would say, including me, but I'm not much of an authority, that it's not to be taken as a neutral and valid source when talking about issues of things like, inverted commas, political correctness, etc. So let's see the point he has to make.
In the United Kingdom, that what used to be known as England.
Actually, no, England is still known as England. If this ignorant douchebag did his research, or in fact just stopped being a bigot, he'd know that the UK refers to Wales, England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. If he wanted to be traditionalist, he could refer to us as Britain, which, of course, 99.9% of reasonably intelligent human beings know refers to Wales, England and Scotland alone.
Teachers have been forbidden from referring to pupils' parents as mom and dad because it's sexist and assumes they're not being raised by homosexuals.
Okay, his point that it's sexist because it assumes they're not being raised by homosexuals is utterly ridiculous. In fact, even down to the point he uses the term sexist to describe a criticism of using this traditional term, it would actually be homophobic to do so. The main emphasis of, I think, this law that's been passed is because it wants to stop people assuming that children, basically they want teachers to stop saying children are being raised by mum and dad, because there is a massive, a very increasing amount of single-parent families in the UK. So it's not to do with homosexual couples at all. Homosexual couples are a massive minority in the UK. The majority of the weight behind this law that was passed is because of single-parent families. So again, we have a case of this douchebag taking an example from a right-wing bias source and mutilating it for his own needs.
Now, you see a story like this, and it makes your blood boil.
I will give Michael Savage this, that it is a little bit extreme on the part of the government to stop teachers, from using the term mum and dad. I have been at school for the last few years. I've left school now and I'm a student, but this video was uploaded on the 19th of January 2009. A year ago I was in compulsory education and my teachers still use the term mum and dad. So as for the connotations of the word forbidden, I think his use of the word forbidden is completely wrong. I'd much prefer the use of the word advised, because it's much more fitting.
See how far the gay mafia has gone.
Okay, of course this is another example of him sneaking in faulty premises here, because the connotational values of the word mafia are just absurd, like some armed, organised group that seek to destroy society, and this is completely wrong. There is no such thing as gay mafia, anything like that. There is, the majority of people in the UK aren't ignorant and are for equal rights for everyone. You don't have to be homosexual or from a single parent family to endorse equality.
In the soft nation known as England, they rule it. They rule the roost over there.
Again, here's another assumption on the part of this douchebag, that we are ruled by, inverted commas, a gay mafia. This seems in line with many of the bullshit conspiracy theories he endorses.
Now, as you well know, and this is very important to say, not all Muslims are terrorists. I've said that 1,000 times.
What would he be implying here about the caliber of his listeners when he has to remind people that not all Muslims are terrorists. And what is he also saying about the nature of people that criticise him and the criticisms he receives? He is obviously used to being accused of the assumption that all Muslims are terrorists if he has to remind himself and his listeners that they're not all terrorists.
But most Muslims are very traditional when it comes to family values, and that's a good thing for the West. Do you understand why the homosexual mafia is actually responsible for some of the Islamist behavior and reactions? Do you understand it?
Here's another perversion of logic that a law passed in the UK advising teachers not to assume that all children are brought up by a conventional monogamous nuclear family, e.g. mother, father, mum and dad, and then 1 to 3 children. Here is another absolutely bullshit assumption that this is causing Jesus Christ. It is actually beyond measure how fucking retarded that was. This guy is assuming that Al-Qaeda, Muslim terrorists exist because we want teachers to stop implying all children are raised by a monogamous nuclear family. It is utterly ridiculous.
Now, you've not read this anywhere because the media is controlled, as you well know, by the left wing.
The media is controlled by the left wing. Whose country's media is this retard referring to? I'm assuming he's talking about the UK. There are many different branches of media in the UK. Arguably the main, the BBC, is of course, as everyone knows, supposed to be neutral, but is far from right wing. Now, the article this guy took from the media, this was produced by the Daily Mail, of course, a newspaper renowned for its right wing leanings. So no, the media is not controlled by the left wing. The media is not controlled at all.
But a lot of the Muslim rage across the landscape is being driven precisely by stories like this, where you send the child to a school, let's say in England, and the teacher is forbidden from referring to the pupil's parents as mom and dad because it's said to be sexist, and it assumes they're not being raised by homosexuals.
No, it assumes they're not being raised by single-parent families. Homosexual families are a massive minority in the UK. The main emphasis of this law was to stop people criticising single-parent families by implying that it's somehow inadequate if the child is not being raised by both a mum and a dad.
Now, what would that do to you if you were a traditional Muslim family, not terrorist, but you didn't want your
I love the add-in of the not terrorist there, quite hastily.
Child exposed to that kind of filthy, twisted mentality? What would it...
The filthy, twisted mentality this guy is talking about, and of course many other right-wing, I use the term thinkers quite reluctantly, referred to as the biggest social problem in Britain, is absolutely ridiculous. There is no evidence whatsoever that being raised by a single-parent family has any adverse effect at all on anyone.
Do to you? Tell me what it would do to your mind. Where would it drive you? Would it make you a more compassionate person towards the West, or would it turn you perhaps into a jihadist? Don't you understand what's at stake, damn it?
Another example of this douchebag losing his temper.
Don't you understand that I'm right and they're wrong? Don't you understand the sick perverts are killing all of us?
And this is absolutely his attitude in a nutshell. Don't you understand these sick perverts are killing us? Based on no empirical or statistical evidence, he is basically implying that single-parent families and homosexual couples are killing us. Of course, his point wasn't to be taken literally,